everybody. Thanks for being a part of this today. My name is Joshua, and I'm the Education and Community Outreach Manager here at MPG. And this is part of what we're trying to do to include our research and make it available to educators as much as we can. So just to tell you a little bit about the ranch, for those who are not familiar with MPG, we are over 15,000 acres. We're located in the Bitterroot Valley, south of Missoula, between Lolo and Florence on the east side of the river. And we meet Forest Service Road on the east side, or Forest Service land on the east side of our property boundary, and the Bitterroot River on the west side. So we're a really unique parcel. We've got great topography here. We're winter elk habitat. It's a phenomenal place for wildlife. And we're taking land that's seen a lot of human habitation and a lot of human impacts over the course of the past many centuries. And we're trying to get that land to as biodiverse as possible and as native species rich as possible. And in order to do that, we're doing a lot of research. And so we're studying everything from the below ground microbes and how they play into species competitiveness between the plants, all the way up through the trees and the shrubs and the birds and the bees and mountain lions and the eagles. And so there's a lot going on here. And what we're going to talk about today are migratory golden and bald eagles. It's a project that we've had going on the ranch here in collaboration with Raptor View Research Institute since 2011. Raptor View Research Institute is one of our oldest and most long-standing partners. And so I'm going to, without further ado, hand it over to Rob Dominic here, who's the Executive Director of Raptor View Research Institute.
All right, thanks, Joshua. Yeah, so a little bit about us. Raptor View Research Institute was formed in 2004, and since that and a little bit before those years, we have been just basically chasing around migratory raptors and studying migratory ecology primarily. And here on the ranch, we're looking at the migration patterns and wintering habits of, as Joshua said, golden and bald eagles. More recently, bald eagles, but golden eagles since 2011. And let's see. Well, since our inception, we've banded over 600 golden eagles, over 2,000 raptors total. And again, bringing in the bald eagle element, we look at things in the blood to determine what's happening with the birds on the landscape. We put transmitters on birds, such as these. This is a backpack mounted transmitter, so if my wrist were the back of the bird and my fist was the hand, well, my fist was the head, this is how it would ride on the bird. And then this little patch here goes on the chest, and we fit it just perfectly, kind of like you would fit a dog's collar, so it just has a little, and we can track these birds 13 fixes a day, a GPS location. It's a solar powered unit, weighs about 65 grams, and some of these birds with these units we've been tracking for years and getting a lot of really useful, neat information. All of our birds will get one of these. This is a U.S. Geologic Survey or Fish and Wildlife Service metal band, stainless steel band, and it has a specific number on it, but you can tell that number is really hard to see. It's easy for me to see, but if the bird was perched on a utility pole or somewhere else, it'd be really hard to get that. But this number is unique, like a fingerprint is to us, to the bird, and so if this band is found with the bird, we can learn where it was found, what the circumstances were behind that, but almost always it's a dead bird, because it's so hard to read those. So with eagles, we do something called auxiliary marking, where we put these tags over the eagle's wing, and then the eagle will carry that tag around for the rest of its life. And we can get resighting information. Almost always it's a live encounter. So instead of like the band where you have those little numbers and it's always almost associated with a mortality, here we get live encounters, and we're able to add to the pieces to the puzzle in terms of put some more pieces to the puzzle together about golden eagle ecology, and with these live tags, these wing tag encounters, which are really neat. We get eagles that we band here on the MPG ranch or on our other site during fall migration. Some of these birds turn up as far south as Mexico and as far north as northern Alaska.
So Rob, I have a picture up right now of a golden eagle, and I believe we can see the wing tag on the bird.
Yep, that's 290. 290 was a bird that I don't know offhand. We banded several years ago. And 290 comes around, has a pretty high fidelity to the Bitterroot Valley as best we can tell. And 290 has been known to guard baits. But that's how most of our sightings will come to us. Our wing tag birds will come to us through some landowner somewhere who has a trail cam. Trail cams have become very affordable. People like to put them out there to see what's happening on their landscape. And our eagles show up on them quite a bit.
So what do you mean by high fidelity?
High fidelity is a way that biologists will describe sort of their, their loyalty to a particular parcel of land or a region. So what we have found over the years is that the golden eagles, we've found with the transmitter birds and with our wing tag birds, they tend to, and all raptors, by the way, the ones that we study and we're able to put radios on or telemetry units on, they seem to show a very high fidelity to their wintering areas and their summer ranges. But it's really interesting. Like, they'll come back. That bird, 290, we don't have a radio, we don't have a transmitter on that bird, but it might be coming from northern Alaska, and it comes back to our region, as best we can tell, for at least a few winters in a row now. And with the radioed birds, with the transmitter birds, we find that they do come back to the same areas time and time again. Golden eagles tend to range wider than some of our other birds we study, like osprey and red-tailed hawks. They get to a wintering ground, they just stay put in a real tight area, whereas the goldens tend to move around quite a bit.
So I'm going to share this map right now of Polly. Tell us a little bit about Polly.
Oh, Polly is an adult eagle. We try to capture adult eagles. For the beginning of our eagle research, our telemetry research, we focused on adult birds only. Now we've loosened that standard a little bit. Now we're working with what you might call teenage birds. But this adult bird was captured on the MPG ranch, and you could see by its tracks, we had no idea where that bird was going to go when we captured it, but we were able to track it all the way up to its summer range in southeast Alaska. So that is a long. I can't. I'll have to take a guess at how many miles that is, but that's a long stretch. That's 1,000+ miles, and that is not even the longest migration tracks for some of the birds that we've seen. But that is a long way to go to leave your summer range, your comfortable summer range, and come all the way down to the Bitterroot Valley in western Montana to winter.
That's pretty incredible. Kathleen, do we have any questions on our live stream?
Yes, they have some of the basic questions of how big eagles are and how big their wingspan is. So you might want to go through that.
So one of the questions we always get is, what's bigger, a bald eagle or a golden eagle? And everybody wants to say golden eagles are bigger, but they're not. They're really the same size. And our eagles, some of the bigger eagles that we've captured, have wingspans that are from wingtip to wingtip greater than 7 feet. They average about 10 pounds. Females are larger than males in general, so our bigger eagles that we capture are females, and it's that way in birds of prey throughout North America, where the females are larger than the males. In some species it's really obvious, they almost look like they're different species. In eagles it's not so much, but the females tend to be larger and are more powerful, and they can weigh up to the North American record for a golden eagle. A wild-caught golden eagle was 16.5 pounds. It actually was 18.5 pounds, but it had just got done eating. And the estimate was that it had consumed at least 2 pounds of food in its crop, and so they can really gorge a lot. And when you could tell when an eagle has eaten a lot recently, because it has a big, obvious bulge right where its throat would be, and that's the upper, that's its crop region, upper proventriculus of its digestive system. Yes.
Yes.
Bozeman wants to know, how far can they travel? How far can they fly without landing?
That's a great question. And Bozeman, by the way, they do know they sit on one of they're looking up at the Bridger Mountains, which is one of the biggest golden eagle migration count sites on Earth. So Bozeman's situated in a really neat area for golden eagle migration. So how far can they travel without landing? I don't know that we've ever specifically looked at that, but we do know that they can migrate 200 plus miles in a single day. So they are probably starting to fly around 10 a.m. and they may fly to about 5 p.m. utilizing the best flight conditions, which for eagles are thermals, which are created by the warming rays of the sun as it warms the ground, and you get these thermal columns that'll sort of bubble up. We've seen them called, sometimes it's referred to as thermal distortion, and also the wind updrafts that go along the mountaintops and the ridge lines, like what you have in the Bridger Range, where you have a predominantly westerly wind. It hits that steep side, blows up the side of the mountain, and it goes underneath the eagle's wings. And that's how these eagles can travel great distances and conserve energy, flapping very little. Unlike shorebirds and waterfowl, types of birds that have to really flap a lot and burn up a lot of energy to get from point A to point B, raptors and eagles especially will just soar and utilize the updrafts and thermal currents and just and be able to fly great distances without expending a lot of energy. So they can fly all day long, over 200 miles.
Awesome, that's great. So what I want to do here, I showed a picture of a golden eagle. I also have some pictures of bald eagles because we get those occasionally on the ranch as well. So let me go ahead and pull this up, and I think these are pretty fun because it's one of those unique situations where you get to see a lot of eagles all at once. And maybe you can tell us a little bit about what's going on here.
Yeah, this is one of our baits. There's, I think right now, roughly 20 baits in the Bitterroot Valley that we have cameras set up, and we're using this as a way to get resightings on the birds, the auxiliary marked birds, like I talked about earlier. The bald eagle has the band on the leg, the golden eagle has the wing tag, and also just to get an idea of what we have going on in the valley for eagles in general. So here is what we sometimes refer to as an eagle explosion happening on the bait. We have like 1, 2, 3, I don't know, 5 or 6 eagles. We got ravens all feeding on this one deer carcass that's out in the field. And we'll probably drag around almost 1,000 deer carcasses in a winter. All of these are killed by vehicles, by the way.
Yeah, so we're just looking
So
at a few
we're
pictures
looking at
here,
some
yeah.
of these pictures. Sometimes adult bald eagle is real easy to tell the difference. You could tell a golden eagle from a bald eagle pretty easy when the bald eagle looks like that. But when these bald eagles are young, a lot of times they have dark heads, or they always have dark heads, and they can be mistaken for golden eagles.
Yeah, or the immature bald. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
But this is we got a real eagle party going on in these pictures. I don't know if you could see these.
They should be able to see these. So what I want to do, I'm going to take them off my computer for a minute, and then I want to show them the scope that we're looking at, and we'll take a look at what you're seeing too. So we're going to come over here, and Rob, this is one of the places where they set up to observe those bait stations. So in the distance, Rob, what are you looking at?
Well, right now we're looking at another one of those carcasses on the ground, and this one has a net launcher, our capture system, set up next to the carcass. We have a bunch of magpies on that bait right now, but magpies are good because if they're feeding, then we have a chance of luring in an eagle. We like to think that if the magpies and the ravens and the other scavengers are utilizing the carcass, that the eagles are more likely to come down because they feel it's safe and.
Mm-hmm. So let's take a look and see. This is the camera network that is at the MPG Ranch, and this is actually what we're looking at in that spotting scope. So I wonder if those that are on the live stream can identify those birds that are out there.
Yep, we see just those little black and white flags at home, and they're kind of letting the eagle know that they can come down and feed. And next to that, there's an obvious, well, it's supposed to look like a big bush or something, and it does. It looks pretty good. It's pretty camoed in, and that's our net launcher. And within that, we fire a 20-foot by 20-foot like fishing net over the carcass. And it has three padded projectiles, and they're fired by 22 blanks. And so we can remotely trigger that from here. The mechanism will trigger, and the projectiles will fire up in that carcass and drape a 20-foot by 20-foot net over that bait station.
We have one other bait station that's live. Let's just check and see what's there.
Here we got ravens, and I always feel that if we have ravens on a carcass, we have a lot more likelihood of pulling an eagle in, because ravens are a little more cautious than magpies, and so it takes them a little time to get comfortable on the carcass. So with ravens there, we could easily have eagles soon, so we're watching this one real closely. And here again, you can see the net launcher that the eagle trappers have all set up just in the background there, and if an eagle were to land on that right now, we'd be able to watch the capture, or at least the capture attempt.
That's pretty amazing. Kathleen, do we have any questions from the live stream?
They are writing right now.
They're furiously writing.
They're saying, are they magpies that they're saying?
Yes, they are
They are
magpies.
magpies,
The
yes.
black and white flags are the magpies. You guys are exactly right. That is fantastic.
And can they see these anytime, these cameras?
Yes, these cameras you can see anytime. This is a site called livemap.mpgranch.com, and this is part of the IC Challenge platform. There's a link there, and you'll come to the page, and it looks something like this. And what we're looking at is a map of the MPG Ranch, and each of these circles represents a camera that is live. And so for fun, we can click on one of these. I'm not going to move the ones that are on the eagle bait stations because the researchers are using those. But these other ones, you can go on the website and you can actually control the camera from wherever you are. So I am making the camera turn around, and you can look at all sorts of really interesting landscapes from the MPG Ranch and on the MPG Ranch. Another fun aspect is if you come over here to layers, you go to the trail cam, there are a lot of cameras that are not live cameras, but that upload their information to the ranch. And we can take a look at those. Oh, here we go. And you can go and show all, and you can see everything that has come past, oh wow, past that camera in the last little while. So here it looks like there was a coyote that went past this camera not too long ago.
If you bring up East Davis Creek, camera will have a cougar.
Oh, that's right. So let's go to the East Davis Creek. We have a really fun, I have to remember where East Davis Creek is. Davis Willow, Upper Seymour, Davis Point. I've got to be close, right?
Close. Top left.
Top left. Okay.
Before you hit Zummel Ridge.
Okay, we're looking here. Probably going to be the last one I find.
Yep.
It's Baldy, South Summit.
It's not on. Yeah, it's out.
Oh, it's out this way. Oh, it really is. So here we go. So it's loading. Things are feeling a little slow. We're going to go show all. Right here. Here we go. And if we look at this, oh wow. So there was a mountain lion.
Image. That'll bring it up.
Wow. So that went.
It was like yesterday, maybe.
This was yesterday. That looks like a big cat.
Yeah, we think it's a tom that's been moving through a lot.
It looks like a big cat that's cruising around the MPG. So there's some really fun resources that you can use to do that. I think we have some questions from our live stream.
These
Great.
people are just loving this. What are the largest animals that a golden eagle can kill?
That's a good question, because they can take anything from a mouse on up to a deer. It's well documented in the literature of golden eagles killing pronghorn antelopes. And deer parts have been found too. Sometimes eagles will team up a mated pair that has lived and presumably worked together a long time, they can tag team an animal as large as a pronghorn antelope or a coyote.
You know, we had a class that was pretty amazed that golden eagles eat birds. Is that true?
Yeah,
that they eat birds?
Yep, they'll take a whole myriad of species of birds, from jays, starlings, on up through grouse, turkeys, waterfowl. There's a flock of turkeys not far from here on the MPG ranch that's regularly hit by golden eagles.
Just like our Thanksgiving,
Yeah,
golden eagle Thanksgiving.
Yep, they're actually really fast flyers. They can dive at 200 plus miles per hour. They can straight flight at 60, 70 miles per hour.
This is the Eagles, not the turkey.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, I've watched a goose dive at over 100 miles an hour with an eagle right on it. You wouldn't believe how fast a goose can drop out of the air with an eagle on its tail.
Yeah, I saw like a small, pigeon-looking bird flying for its life with a golden eagle on its tail, and I've never seen a small bird move that fast.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
It's amazing how quickly a golden eagle can fly straight flight. They can close distance on a raven like it's nothing.
They went right over me. It sounded like a rocket.
That's neat. Yeah, the sound.
Yeah.
It's the hear a golden eagle whip over your head. It sounds like a jet compared to an owl, which is silent.
Relaying the huckleberry path.
So what are some of the issues surrounding golden eagles that make it dangerous for them that you're learning about?
What we're learning about golden eagles is when we talk about some of the dangers or threats to golden eagles, and a lot of times when we talk about these things, we talk about human-caused or human-induced, because we do have quite an impact on the landscape as a whole. Some of the bigger threats that are human-caused for golden eagles are electrocution. That's a big one. Some of these utility lines, all these thousands and thousands of miles of lines that we have up all in and around us, some have been up for many, many years, and they're old configurations, and if the wires or the phases are too close together and an eagle lands on them and touches two of those at the same time, they get fried. I just picked one up last week that had been electrified, and almost always when an eagle takes electricity, the result of that is going to be a mortality or a bird that can't be healed. They get hit by cars feeding on roadkill. They are still shot. Hawks and eagles are shot far more often than we even understand, and of course I can't fathom why anybody would want to shoot these birds, beautiful birds of prey, but I think it's more of just this belief that predators or big birds that kill things are no good. We know now that predators are an important aspect and component of an ecosystem, and shooting hawks is wrong on so many levels. What else is a threat to golden eagles and bald eagles, for that matter? I think the biggest one out here, and one that we could all do a little something about if we're hunters, is lead poisoning. We find on the ranch here 90% of the eagles that we capture have elevated blood lead levels, which means they're getting that toxin in them. And by all accounts and multiple research projects across the country and actually worldwide, we have found that lead from spent ammunition is getting into the scavengers and the birds that feed on them. And for example, I don't know if you guys can see this. Let's see. Here we go. That might be a better view. This is a picture of some bullets, and the ones right here, those are lead core bullets, and these fragments here are what happens when a lead core bullet goes through muscle tissue of a deer or an elk that you've shot, or a ground squirrel for that matter. And so those little pieces fragment, up to 200 of them, up to 2 feet in the muscle tissue and in the gut of an animal, and those, when ingested by a scavenger such as an eagle, can poison and outright kill the bird. So the easy fix to that is to use a non-lead alloy like copper for hunting, which I think is a very effective, at least as effective as lead, and it's not toxic to the birds that are scavenging on the gut pile and us that are eating the meat.
How many types of eagles do you get on the ranch?
We have, in North America, we have two species of eagles that breed in North America, the bald eagle and the golden eagle. We do have occasionally the Steller's sea eagle, which is arguably the heaviest eagle in the world. It's rivaled by the harpy eagle in South America, and those birds will come over on the Aleutian Islands of Alaska. But I don't believe they're known to breed here. So in North America, we have bald and golden eagles, two species.
Excellent. Kathleen, do we have any final questions on the live stream?
Why don't you ask them, because it takes a second to write in. They just asked that one night.
Wonderful.
Yeah, so any final questions?
Yeah. While we're waiting, let's go ahead and take a look.
Are these high school kids in Bozeman?
They're elementary students.
Elementary.
Yeah.
Well, you in the fall, in September and October, if you guys can go hiking up to the top of the Bridger Bowl, you can see raptors migrating by. You are so close to one of the hottest golden eagle migration flyways on Earth. So just know it. And if you ever can get out and get your parents or friends or whatever and go for a hike in late September, early October up on Bridger Bowl, you will see a lot of raptors flying by, and there'll be observers, counters up there every day counting the migratory raptors as they fly through down the Bridger Range and through Bozeman.
Sounds like a field trip.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right.
Oh, she's writing.
We do have one last question.
How much do baby eagles weigh?
Oh, cute.
Baby eagles' weight changes by the day, hopefully always gaining. But when baby eagles leave the nest, they are at least as heavy as the adults. So they are full size when they leave the nest. But how big are they when they come out of that egg? 60 grams? I don't know. That's a great question. I never weighed
I have a question.
Yeah.
How big is an eagle egg? Can you show us with your hands?
An eagle egg is about that big.
An oblong tennis ball?
Yeah, I'd say an oblong tennis ball. Yeah, it's about the size of a goose egg, which if you don't know how big a goose egg is, it's about 1.5 times the size of a chicken egg.
Excellent. Well, you guys, thank you so much for joining us, and those on the live stream. We will be back at 2:30. Thanks.
Oh, wait.
Oh, one more question.
One more question.
What's coming through?
What are the predators that eagles have?
Eagles have very few predators. Other eagles, maybe. Great horned owls have been known to smack young bald eagles while they're in the nest, but pretty much eagles are at the top of the food chain. And the only other animals that really kill eagles maybe would be a mountain lion or a wolf. If the eagle was on a kill and wasn't able to, on a kill that the mountain lion or wolves had, they've been known to kill an eagle, but really nothing preys on an eagle. There's, as far as predators, they are pretty much the top of the heap.
They think that you guys rock.
All right. Well, the Eagles rock.
Eagles rock.
Awesome. Well, you guys, thank you so much. Oh, and to leave with you, we have a golden eagle
Ooh.
feasting.
Okay. Nice. They can see that.
Yes. Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.